Beneath the world's grandest museums and a $13 billion fortune lies a secret. An American family, richer than the Rockefellers, masterminded the rise of a pill that triggered an opioid epidemic deadlier than war, claiming more than 500,000 lives. The Sacklers built their empire on a promise that OxyContin was barely addictive. How did a dynasty that once traded in earwax remover and laxatives reshape medicine, rewrite trust, and escape justice, leaving 500,000 coffins behind? To answer that, we have to start at the very beginning. In 1952, three brothers from Brooklyn, Arthur, Mortimer, and Raymond Sackler, acquired a small pharmaceutical company called Purdue Frederick. At the time, the company made mundane products like earwax remover and laxatives. But under the Sacklers' control, Purdue was never just another drug maker. The family kept the company private, tightly held through trusts and shell companies that made outside scrutiny nearly impossible. Every major decision, products, marketing, profits, ran through the family boardroom. Arthur Sackler, the eldest, was already known as a marketing mastermind. He pioneered technique that would come to define the pharmaceutical industry, turning prescription drugs into household names. By the 1970s, his strategies helped make Valium the most prescribed drug in America. As decades passed, the Sacklers' wealth soared. Forbes would eventually rank them among the richest families in the United States, with an estimated fortune of $13 billion, surpassing even the Rockefellers. But their real power came from how they operated. The Sacklers owned Purdue outright, answered to no shareholders, and installed family members on the board. This structure gave them freedom to pursue aggressive strategies, shield profits, and keep their names out of headlines. The family's control over Purdue set the stage for everything that followed. The marketing blitzes, the unchecked expansion, and the absence of meaningful oversight. In the world of American business, almost no one wielded this kind of invisible influence. Purdue's transformation began long before OxyContin hit the market. The company quietly assembled one of the largest and most aggressive sales forces in the industry. By the mid-1990s, more than 1,000 sales representatives were deployed across the country, each trained to target doctors in every community, from rural clinics to major hospitals. The company poured $200 million into marketing, an unprecedented sum for a prescription drug. Sales representatives arrived at doctors' offices armed with glossy brochures, free samples, and a message honed in training. The message was simple. A new painkiller was coming. It would be safe, effective, and, crucially, posed almost no risk of addiction. This talking point, repeated in training manuals and speaker programs, traced back to a single letter published in a medical journal in 1980. The letter claimed that less than 1% of patients prescribed opioids in hospitals became addicted. Purdue's marketing team turned this brief note into a central selling tool, teaching representatives to reassure doctors that addiction was rare, even with long-term use. Behind the scenes, the company organized lavish dinners and paid consulting fees to physicians willing to endorse their message. Speaker programs and continuing education events blurred the line between science and salesmanship. By the time OxyContin was ready for launch, Purdue's promotional machine was primed. An army of salespeople, a war chest of $200 million, and a rehearsed guarantee of less than 1% risk of addiction were all prepared to sell the drug across America. OxyContin entered American pharmacies in December 1995 with a promise that set it apart from every painkiller before it. The pill contained oxycodone, a semi-synthetic opioid derived from thebaine, a compound found in opium. On a milligram basis, OxyContin was roughly 3 times as powerful as morphine. Purdue's scientists engineered the tablet for a 12-hour extended release, so patients could take just 2 pills a day and, in theory, remain pain-free around the clock. The FDA approved OxyContin for moderate to severe pain. The original label included a line that would change everything. It claimed the delayed absorption is believed to reduce the abuse liability. That single phrase became a golden ticket. Sales representatives carried that message into doctors' offices, reassuring physicians that OxyContin was not only potent, but also safer than other opioids. Within a year, prescriptions soared. In 1996, OxyContin sales totaled $45 million. By 2001, that figure reached $1.6 billion. The drug's rapid uptake was no accident. Purdue's marketing machine pushed the narrative that this was a breakthrough for pain management, stronger, longer lasting, and, crucially, less addictive. Doctors, trusting the science and the FDA wording, began prescribing OxyContin for everything from back injuries to dental pain. The commercial success was immediate and staggering, driven as much by the promise of safety as by the drug's raw power. Addiction to prescription opioids rarely begins with a criminal act or a back alley deal. For millions, it starts in a doctor's office. A prescription for a sports injury, a slipped disc, dental surgery. The first pills bring relief. But the brain quickly adapts, chasing the same comfort, needing higher doses just to keep pain at bay. Tolerance sets in quietly. Then comes dependence. The body learns to function only with the drug, and when the prescription runs out, withdrawal hits with crushing force. Bone-deep aches, vomiting, chills, panic, insomnia. Desperation drives people to seek out new doctors, travel hours to pain clinics, or buy pills on the street at prices that drain savings in weeks. When the money runs out, heroin offers the same high at a fraction of the cost. By 2013, fentanyl, 50 times stronger, flooded the market. Hidden in street drugs, turning every dose into a gamble with death. In Huntington, West Virginia, a single afternoon in August 2016 brought 28 overdoses in just 4 hours. Paramedics raced from house to house, reviving people with naloxone, barely keeping up. Across the country, the numbers climbed relentlessly. 4,000 opioid deaths in 1999, 16,000 by 2010, over 64,000 in 2016, and 93,000 by 2020. The CDC now counts more than 500,000 opioid deaths, a toll greater than some wars. Each number hides a story, a prescription, a spiral, a family left behind. In February 2001, as reports of OxyContin abuse began to flood the country, Richard Sackler, then president of Purdue Pharma, sent an internal email to company executives. The message was blunt. It said they had to hammer on the abusers in every way possible. They are the culprits and the problem. This was not a moment of confusion or ignorance. Purdue's own sales data and field reports showed exactly how OxyContin was being crushed, snorted, and injected. Internal studies warned that the 12-hour formula often failed, pushing patients toward higher doses and greater dependence. But instead of pulling back, the company doubled down. Executives celebrated rising sales, even as overdose deaths mounted. In 2007, after years of mounting evidence and public outrage, Purdue pleaded guilty in federal court to misbranding OxyContin. The company agreed to pay $635 million in fines and penalties. For context, OxyContin's annual revenue at the time was about $3 billion. Not a single Sackler family member was charged with a crime. The fine amounted to a fraction of 1 year's profits, a cost of doing business paid from the same fortune OxyContin had built. While overdose deaths soared, the Sacklers moved more than $10 billion out of Purdue Pharma from 2008 to 2018. The money flowed into offshore trusts, shell companies, luxury real estate, and private art collections, assets shielded from lawsuits and creditors. At the same time, the family spent over $200 million on donations to the world's most prestigious museums and universities. Their name appeared on the walls of the Met, the Guggenheim, the Louvre, Harvard, Oxford, and Yale, a symbol of culture and legitimacy built atop OxyContin profits. But as the death toll climbed, the backlash began. Photographer Nan Goldin, herself a survivor of OxyContin addiction, founded PAIN, Prescription Addiction Intervention Now. She and fellow activists staged die-ins and protests inside the very museums that bore the Sackler name. They tossed pill bottles into the Met's reflecting pool and chanted the words, "Sacklers lie, people die." The spectacle forced the art world to reckon with its benefactors. By 2019, major institutions began removing the Sackler name from their galleries. The Louvre scraped it off its walls. The Met and the Guggenheim followed. Yet inside bankruptcy court, the Sacklers sought sweeping legal immunity through non-debtor releases that would shield them from future civil lawsuits, even as they kept their billions. The museums could erase the name, but the law, for now, could not touch the fortune. Today, opioid overdoses still claim more than 100 American lives every day, while those who fueled the crisis walk free. As profit eclipses accountability, the true cost is counted in lost futures. Justice remains elusive. The question now, will we let it happen again? Share your thoughts below.